Days continuing for your Tuesday as we continue to see those dangerous heat index levels. We're on your side with just how hot it's going to be and if some wet weather could help cool us off.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And we begin First Alert Weather Extra tracking some wet weather. Some storms over parts of Alabama. We'll show you where, but also tracking this heat advisory. Still the entire state covered up here. As we go to the maps, you'll see what we're talking about here. The entire area heat index levels right now in the triple-digit range. And this heat advisory is going to be in effect for Tuesday through 9 o'clock in the evening. Highs in the mid-90s, heat index up to 109, even higher for a few areas. You know the story. Stay hydrated, take breaks, and listen. You look at these temperatures showing 93 here on Red Mountain. So many times we've seen temperatures where we've had record highs 100 plus, but many cases like that, it's felt like 100 degrees. Right now, that humidity, that's what makes a huge difference, and we say it so often, it just impacts our body's ability to cool. So that's why we make such a big deal about the heat index. And with the heat, the humidity, it's firing off some storms. Seeing some development right there along the Tennessee River. Check this out. Zoomed in over North Alabama, the National Weather Service in Huntsville issuing a severe thunderstorm warning. That does include Lawrence County, parts of Colbert County. Notice Florence is included there, but seeing some intense lightning. Now, this lightning count does include more storms back to the north, but you can just see hundreds, over 1,000 strikes. These storms producing some intense lightning. That's what we got to watch out for. Big question, will we see any of this? Well, notice what's happening. You get a storm right here, and then the rain falls, it cools things off. Look at this, you get a little pop-up further south. So there's a chance this may develop south in our area. Now there's one little shower that is right around Garden City and High Rock. This is on the Blount-Coleman County line. So this is now crossing over into Blount County, but I can see this. I panned the camera around right there at Nectar, and there it is. You can see that little downpour. That's right on the county line, and that's drifting to the south. So we do have one lone shower out there, and there's a chance this might produce a bolt of lightning. So just be alert there for that threat of lightning. But I'm highlighting these areas to the north for a medium chance there's some development perhaps over the next few hours going into the evening. Some of those scattered showers and storms from the development to the north, but giving you that first alert for the greatest rain chance that I see into the early evening. And you can see right in there a little pocket where we have some scattered development. Otherwise, it is so hot at the moment. I mean, we're 95 degrees at Talladega. Current heat index 101 at Anniston, 104 at Birmingham, 105 over around Tuscaloosa. And again tomorrow, First Alert Weather Day, because of those heat index levels as high as 111, some of the maximum values. And then Wednesday, I think it's mostly West Alabama where we see some of those extremes, but still hot out there and steamy through the end of the week. But the big thing Thursday, Friday, and especially this weekend, we have a greater chance for afternoon storms and a greater chance for those heat levels to back off. And looks like heading into August, we're going to see this heat dome shift into the western U.S., a pattern change, and that's going to impact the temperatures, which we'll talk a lot more about that coming up in the extended forecast. But be sure to scan the code on your screen to download the WBRC First Alert Weather app on your mobile device. It's free, incredible tool this time of the year. Hyper-local updates. You get updates on this heat, but also anytime lightning's nearby, you're trying to wrap up some yard work, you get that lightning alert. Great tool. I love it. And you can download that for free, the First Alert Weather app. Just search WBRC in your app store. And in this pattern of hot weather, while it may be best to stay inside, most of us, well, the world has to go around, right? I mean, we have folks that we've got to work outside in this heat, and as most jobs require working outside, your reporter Jillian Brooks is on your side with how one crew is making changes to stay safe in this very hot and steamy weather.
I think we can all agree that Monday is a hot one, but while some of you are able to sit inside and soak in the air conditioning, for others, working in the heat is unavoidable.
Because when you out here in this heat will break you down.
John Bell and his crew with Black Jack Horticulture are no strangers to adapting to working in the heat.
Normally we would be cutting, but it being so hot, you can see the grass is browning out, so we ain't cutting no grass. Even though the irrigation been running 5 days, without in the rain, we just there's no need to cut the grass.
If you're working in the heat, the CDC recommends you drink 8 ounces of water every 20 minutes. Bell says they also incorporate electrolytes and pay close attention to what they're eating during their breaks.
Make sure you eat a lot of fruit, stuff like that, and try not to eat a lot of stuff that ain't good and heavy.
Bell says while they're used to working outside, not everyone is. Experts recommend lightweight clothing, wearing sunscreen, and taking regular breaks as needed.
When it get real hot, we try to tend to stay away from the sun, try and find spots in the shades like that to work in where it ain't too hot.
Now, symptoms of a heat-related illness include dizziness, vomiting, sweating, and if you feel like you are experiencing any of this while working outdoors, be sure to go to a cool place. Your reporter in Birmingham, I'm Jillian Brooks for WBRC 6 News, on your side.
And a reminder, there are several cooling shelters open right now in our area, including all Birmingham Public Library branches. You can find a complete list on the WBRC News app. We're also on your side with a few reminders to try to help you save some money on your energy bill. The most important is to maintain your AC unit with regular filter changes. You can also seal any air leaks or find ways to improve your home's insulation. Running fans also helps take the load off of that AC, but mainly Alabama Power says raise the thermostat setting just a few degrees, especially when leaving the house or at night. Also, if you go on vacation, they recommend you don't turn your AC system off. Alabama Power says your unit will have to work even harder when finally turned back on, as you can imagine. Instead, raise that thermostat 5 degrees to help maximize savings. And one more thing, keep blinds and shades closed. That will also help keep the sun from raising the temperature in your home. It reduces that greenhouse sort of effect in your home, letting all that insulation inside. And we're not the only ones experiencing the dangerous summer heat, but did you know that corn could also be the reason why it feels hotter for some? We talked a little bit about this last week. It's a phenomenon called corn sweat, and Fox reporter Asher Red is in Bell Buckle, Tennessee, where farmers are learning to adapt to the added humidity.
Corn has very broad leaves, and just like any other plant, corn sucks up water through its roots, and some of that water is released through small pores on the leaf called stomata. The U.S. Geological Survey says a single acre of corn can release anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water into the air every day, which could raise the dew point in the area by about 5 to 10 degrees. And the hotter it is, the more plants will transpire. The transpired moisture will then evaporate off the plant's leaves to cool it down, just like how sweat evaporates off human skin. Farmers say it could be detrimental to their harvest if corn didn't sweat.
The heat in some years will damage the corn, and we get excessive heat, then the pollen can be killed with anything over 97 degrees.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates the U.S. has more than 95 million acres of corn. Most of it's concentrated to a handful of Midwestern states known as the Corn Belt. In Iowa, the National Weather Service says corn pumps up to 56 billion gallons of water into the air every day, enough to fill nearly 85,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
When you get thousands of acres of corn in one concentrated area, it can probably change humidity levels pretty locally. And it's just a natural process to try to cool itself off the same way you and I would sweat when we overheat.
Farmers say corn sweat isn't enough to shift global climate patterns, but they do say it could cause the heat index to rise just enough to make folks around it overheat easier. In Bell Buckle, Tennessee, Asher Red, Fox News.
That goes for any plant. I say around here kudzu sweat. What do you think? And check this out. Tampa, Florida making history yesterday after reaching triple digits for the first time in 135 years of record keeping. According to the Weather Service, the city usually does not hit such high temperatures, of course, due to that sea breeze impact and the breezy conditions. The heat is expected to continue throughout the week. It's that ridge we're dealing with. Tampa's previous heat record was 99 degrees, which was set on June the 26th of 2020. In 30 seconds, as we draw closer towards that peak of hurricane season, we talk about the impacts natural disasters can have on insurance and talk about when we can see our next best chance for rain. We'll see you in just 30 seconds. All right, time to check back in on radar and seeing just a small shower here over Blount County. But right now, if you live north of Hayden's around Harkness Crossroads, High Rock, you're winning out. You're getting a little bit of rain there moving to the south, but we might see some more development back to the north. Notice, actually, let me go back over and make sure we're on the radar view here. We go to Moulton and near Hartselle. You can see some counties just to the north in Lawrence County there over towards Florence. Some of this may set off an isolated storm or shower through at least 8, 9 o'clock tonight. So I'm just letting you know, if you hear a rumble of thunder, receive an alert on the First Alert Weather app. We're still in that window where we might get some development. This has been moving to the south, and I think tomorrow we'll see more of these pop-up storms moving north to south. And a good chance tomorrow. I'm seeing rain chances jumping up to around 40%. We go even higher, actually up to around 60% once we get to Wednesday and into Thursday. But more on that to come. But all these pop-up showers and storms that we've been tracking, certainly not as extreme as what's been happening in other parts of the country where water rescues and evacuations have been taking place. Check this out. Over parts of Missouri over the weekend, heavy rain leading to flash flooding. Some scenes from Ellsbury, Missouri. Lincoln County emergency management officials declaring a state of emergency over the weekend due to the flooding. Though rescue operations have been completed, significant flooding still remains as several roads are covered in water. Cleanup also beginning across western Pennsylvania after powerful storms on Saturday night. Numerous trees were uprooted and power lines had fallen. People were busy picking up tree limbs and clearing away other debris. Some creeks overflowed their banks and flooded backyards. Despite the damage, there are no reports of deaths, thankfully, or injuries from that storm. Average home insurance policy costs across the country have gone up in the last year, and it's due to a variety of factors. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at the rising costs and what you can do to try and save money.
From ravenous wildfires to devastating tornadoes, natural disasters are becoming more frequent and more intense. Last year, there were 27 confirmed weather and climate disasters in the U.S., with losses exceeding $1 billion, according to NOAA. Because of this, many home insurance companies are raising policy rates.
There are more natural disasters happening, and they're affecting more homes.
Holden Lewis with NerdWallet says they recently conducted a survey among homeowners and found 54% said their premiums have gone up in the last 12 months. These rate hikes aren't specific to certain states, it's nationwide.
They end up having to pass along some of those costs to states that might have fewer natural disasters.
State Farm recently raised home insurance rates by an average of 27.2% in Illinois. They say it's because in 2024, for every dollar they collected from policyholders, State Farm paid out $1.26. State Farm said Illinois had the second highest hailstorm damage claims last year, totaling $638 million. Telling CNN in part, accurate risk-based pricing makes sure that insurers like State Farm can pay claims during some of life's toughest moments for policyholders.
Some of the most costly natural disasters are hailstorms.
Inflation and the rising cost of supplies is also contributing to higher premiums. But Lewis says there are things you can do to help lower your rates. Adding roof trusses or upgrading your garage door can help get a better rate. Also installing fire alarms and security systems. And shop around to compare different companies' premiums. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And don't go anywhere. We continue to talk about the heat for your Tuesday and talk about how impactful weather could potentially have an effect on the outdoor concert experience. We'll be right back. And welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. And just in from Aniana, Brooke Dobbins sharing this view of an isolated pop-up out there this evening. That's what we've been tracking across those areas to the north. We have First Alert Weather Day in effect, and this is going to continue tomorrow. It's hot out there. It's steamy. It's the heat index, and it's 105 plus today and tomorrow. We're going to see more of this, and even Wednesday, I think, for West Alabama. So we will continue those First Alert Weather Days for impactful heat index levels. Afternoon storms more likely over the next few days. That's a good thing. And even this evening, we might see some development to the far north. Drop in temperatures coming up this weekend. What are we talking about there? Well, we go from right now, we're seeing 90s heat index 105 plus. Well, how about highs in the 80s and actually feeling more like that? Heat index also taking a tumble. So we do have some welcome changes coming up that we're going to talk about. As for us, we're dealing with scattered storms at the moment. Some severe weather. I was noticing South Dakota, tornado warnings happening at the moment. The northern plains dealing with some active weather. We've had some severe storms showing up around the Tennessee River. Saw a couple warnings there. Notice 11 o'clock tonight, models are picking up some unsettled weather in these areas to the north. So still got to kind of watch this region for some development through the early evening hours. But later tonight, you can see the chance of rain comes to an end. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. out the door, 70s, dry start to the day, and then it heats up in a hurry. Tomorrow by 11 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have some areas where the heat index already topping 100. So extremely humid, very hot and sizzling heat out there tomorrow. But the afternoon, we will start to see some of these little pop-up storms. And the model data is showing around 3, 4 o'clock. I think pretty much after 2 until about 9 o'clock tomorrow night, game on. Any storm could develop in that time frame for any given location, so the chance is there. Hopefully we'll see some more. The models are showing this heat dome starts to slide a bit further west as we get into Wednesday. That's why we think Wednesday we'll see the greatest heat risk over the western part of the state. That said, still toasty for what you would expect, final days of July heading into August. But the first week of August, we're still seeing signals. This is the latest CPC outlook as we sort of go beyond the 7-day and in that long-range forecast. You can see those below average temperatures starting to take over to next week. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to turn colder. I know you see a lot of blue on the map, but this is just showing you a comparison to the averages. So we'll see highs backing off, highs back into the 80s and overnight lows down into the 60s. So that's nice to see, but also with that ridge weakening, we will see more of those afternoon storms in the forecast, especially by Thursday and into Friday. So we'll need to stay weather alert. Could see some intense lightning, a couple strong storms, just like what we saw today. So something else we'll need to watch out for over the next several days. Well, classic rocker Steve Miller. Man, he's got some great songs, right? Well, he announced he's canceling his band's U.S. tour due to the threats of extreme weather. Miller is the latest artist taking steps to protect his crew and fans from the severe hot weather conditions. Maribel Gonzalez spoke to experts about what this could mean for the future of festivals.
Severe weather is impacting events all across the country. Just last week, hundreds of people suffered heat-related illness at the Rock the Country Music Festival in Kentucky. And in June, heavy rainfall in Tennessee caused the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival to shut down early.
Severe weather is raining on parades. Or, in this case, the Steve Miller Band's tour. The classic rocker canceled his tour set to kick off in August due to, quote, the combination of extreme heat, unpredictable flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, and massive forest fires.
The climate continues to warm. It's kind of an inevitability that we need to account for.
Francesca Hopkins is one of the researchers behind a 2020 study that explored the impact of climate change on tourism in California's Coachella Valley, an area which hosts outdoor music events, including the hugely popular Coachella Festival.
The probability of extreme heat for any given Coachella is something around 15 to 20%. When we go out to the end of the century, the probability could be something like 40% risk, so a doubling of the risk of extreme heat if we're able to curtail our emissions. But if we don't, the probability of extreme heat goes up to about 60%.
Dr. Taylor Burkholder says heat-related illnesses can come on fast.
Someone can go from feeling pretty normal to being in a life-threatening situation within a matter of minutes.
But preparation is key.
This is the right time to start wearing lightweight, loose-fitting, and light-colored clothing.
Many venues have made changes like adding water stations, but artist Billie Eilish says,
"You would not believe how wasteful this industry is." And it's like you ask them what their plan is to be a little more eco-conscious, and it's like nobody has a plan.
Tropical storms and hurricanes peak between August and October, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Now, those could also impact outdoor events in the next few months. Reporting in Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
All right, we're checking in on some weather photos, also that extended forecast. I've got the 10-day and some better news, some changes on the horizon with respect to temperatures. If you missed it, we'll have that for you after the break. Stay with us. All right, it is time to share some of your lovely weather photos. Janet Handley sharing this lovely sunset in Hanceville over the weekend. Some nice clouds really setting off that glow. Anita McWee sharing this double rainbow south of Columbiana and Shelby County, double rainbow there. And James Davis, a lovely sunset near Christmas, Florida. Lovely colors there. All nice and colorful like Christmas lights, right? Lena Brooks sharing this sunset in Heflin. You can see those nice sun rays there breaking through the clouds, just absolutely stunning. And Alicia Graham sharing this sunset on Smith Lake. No better place to be on a summer evening, right? Just cruising the lake, but what a view. And how about this just in, rainbow from Baileyton. So we got some proof. There's some wet weather out there, right? Shelby, and this was in the Baileyton area there, northern part of the coverage area tracking some of those showers, and there's still a chance we might get some scattered development. Areas to the north will be tracking. Just make sure you keep an eye on the weather app. You want to been waiting to get that walk in around the neighborhood. Just know that areas to the north, there still might be a pop-up shower or storm, but the rain chances, they just keep on going up, which when we see that, we know the temperatures are going to start to go down, which is nice to see. And it looks like over the next several days, it's still hot, it's still humid. It's Alabama heading into August here, but we see in that long range, notice Sunday, Monday, how about 84, 85 degrees with lots of sunshine in the mix. And I still think Monday morning, there's going to be a lot of areas, a taste of some 60s there on the map early in the day. So not too bad. Some welcome changes that we'll be talking about in the long range. We'll have more updates and more radar updates for you tonight, first at 9. Have a great evening.